You are listening to the Nightly News Podcast, the voice of the Knights.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Miller, and I'm so honored to be joined on our full soccer episode here today with the women's Lady Knights soccer coach, Coach Rudy Grubesky. Coach Grubesky, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here, Paul. Thanks for the invitation.
One and only.
Invitation, my gosh, you're always welcome here. Also being joined by Nightly News President Noah Lopez. Noah, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
You know, one of the things that we are certainly looking forward to this week, number one, Noah, definitely looking forward to you being involved with Knights Athletics this year. We're going to be getting back out there with basketball and then later in 2026 with baseball, so we're very much looking forward to that. But the big thing here today is going to be our soccer programs. During this segment, we're going to talk with Coach Grubesky. Next segment, we will talk with Coach Hartman of the men's team to find out what's going on with Knights soccer. So I wanted to start off with something that the Nightly News assisted you with, was a project that you had really wanted us to do for quite some time. Basically, two of our students here in corporate communication, Noah.
Would happen to be me.
And Tyler Darren did two different videos for you, and they are available on the Nightly News Media Club at Central Penn College YouTube channel. I'll also share those links along with this podcast. First off, Coach Grubesky, and then I'll go to you, Noah. Tell us a little bit more about the process, what the need for these videos was, and what you thought the final outcome turned out to be.
Well, I think the process was really great working with Noah and Tyler. I think from pre-production to post-production, we told them what we needed for these two recruiting videos, and they did a great job with it. As far as the need for it, one of the things that we and I came to you about was just getting a presence out there on social media. And then when you offered we could put it on the Nightly News, we just jumped at the chance to work with you guys. And I'm getting really good comments from our recruits. I sent it to all of our recruits, and I think I shared a couple of those comments with you and Casey and the guys. It was just nice to hear back from recruits that they got a really good kind of a bird's eye view of our match pitch, of our campus, of what we're trying to do with the program. So I really appreciate the work that you guys did on it.
Oh, man, touches my heart you love the video.
Well, Noah, I want to bring you in here because obviously you were the mastermind behind one of these videos.
Don't forget Tyler. He made a great video, too.
Of course. I don't want to downplay Tyler. Tyler Darren also was an integral piece in this, but you're here. He, unfortunately, is not here on this podcast today. So, Noah, I know that this was part of a class. It was part of your video production class that you were working on last term, and we met very early on with Coach Grubesky. He shared the vision with us, what he hoped the video would ultimately be. Tell us a little bit more about the creative process behind it and maybe anything else that you found interesting about the production of this video.
Well, okay. I want to start with when we first got presented the idea of the video and were given the pitch for it. I was a little stressed out because, I don't know, it happens with me when I get told a lot of information at once, I start panicking. But as it, it came closer to the time to make the video, scheduling was a little hard, but we did make it happen. And even though we had a limited time frame to do it, I think the way the video came out, I'm very proud of my final product. I mean, I've always had a knack for video editing, if you say. It's kind of my natural gift. I've been doing it since I was a kid because when I was a wee little guy, I had the dream of becoming this big YouTuber. Obviously, that didn't happen, but
yeah. You got a long road ahead of you, bud.
Of course, but I did gain some video editing skills. But I do have to say, doing this project with you, Coach, it's been amazing. I got to build a relationship with you that I didn't have before because before this, we didn't really have many interactions. I didn't even know who you were a little bit. I was like, I knew you were the coach, but I was like, oh, you're the women's soccer coach. That's awesome. I thought you were the men's soccer coach. So, yeah, and I also got to build relationships with some of the players. Mm-hmm. I got to learn their names. I got to learn what they do and how they play, which is cool because I've never met any of them either. So, honestly, all around, this was a great experience, not only that it made a great impact for the team and helping new recruits, but it helped me grow a larger connection to the school, the college, and everybody here. So,
and Noah, what I also find interesting is, when you first came here, you were not necessarily a person that was really involved with sports. No. I knew that you like basketball, and you did like some sports. It's not like you disliked sports.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the fact that you have been willing to jump in headfirst to not only producing basketball, taking photography during baseball, and also doing these types of videos as part of a project. Why I like this so much was because not only was this a project that was, for a class, this is going to have what we call a long tail.
Yeah, a long tail.
Meaning that it's going to be able to be used, at least over the next couple of years of recruiting, for much, much longer than just a video you might have thrown together might be. And it's going to be relevant to the Central Penn community. So, again, if you're interested in checking these videos out, they are available on the Nightly News Media Club at Central Penn College YouTube channel. I will also share the links with this. And, Coach, all I can say is I'm honored that you thought of us. I'm proud that the two gentlemen did such a great job. And honestly, I couldn't be happier because you're happy.
Yeah, he's happy and I'm happy. That makes me happy. I mean, I put my heart and soul in that video to make it the best it can be, so...
Well, you guys did great. Hopefully got a good grade as well, and we've been able to use it in our recruiting process, and as you said, Paul, continue to use it next couple of years for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, one thing I shared with the gentleman before we move on to the next thing was, in the end, if your client is happy, I'm happy, and that's what I said. I'm sure Noah can vouch. Yep. There was multiple times I said, they were asking me questions, I said, I'm not the client. The client is the one that tells you what they're looking for. They're the ones that you should listen to, because in the end, in the business world, Noah, that's what it ends up being. You can have your vision, and you want to sort of marry that vision to the client's vision. I think you did a very good job with that. But at the same time, this goes back to my idea of experiential learning, in that I don't think papers are always the answer. Like, let's get them out. Let's get them working with clients. Let's understand that client, marketer interaction. And I think you did that. So
it's the best way, honestly. It's way better than handing someone like a freaking packet.
Well, it was nice because I, in my career with the Pennsylvania State Police and training there, worked on a lot of training videos, and it was great to get back doing video production and working with these guys. They were pros for sure, and I appreciate you're guiding them and helping us get this thing done.
Glad to do what I can. Well, we are not here to talk about the past. Well, in a sense, we are a little bit. So
about the future.
I want to talk a little, just briefly, about the 2024-2025 season, Coach. I think it's fair to say that didn't quite go the way that you drew it up. But at the end of the day, the Knights still did get out there and played very well at the end of the season. So I don't want to focus on some of the early season matters. I want to focus more so on the final two games of the season. Number one, the homecoming game against Bucks County. I'll be honest with you, I was at that game, and that was one of the most exciting soccer games that I've ever seen, because I knew the trials and tribulations that the ladies team dealt with last year. Coach, what did it mean to you to win that game in front of the home crowd on homecoming, 2-0 decisive victory? What did that mean to you after a rather tough season?
Yeah, it was huge to get a win. Anytime you can get a win at home, I tell the players, I'll take a draw on the road, but we try to want to get the wins at home, and especially on a big night. A lot of people there.
Oh my gosh!
Homecoming, yeah, it was huge. A conference opponent, we battle with Bucks a lot, as well as our other conference opponents, and so it was nice to get that win.
It was
nice success right there.
It was a dramatic evening, and honestly, it was a beautiful night. I had the fortune, and Noah will have this fortune with us this year, of doing the concessions. But where we did the concessions, we had like an eagle eye view of the field, and
for the soccer games.
Oh,
okay,
and I would say the level of emotion that was going on in the crowd, the amount of support. Obviously, it was homecoming, and I get that. But going through the season, the way it turned out, to have that victory in front of the home crowd was fantastic. But then they turned right back around less than a week later and win on the road 3-0 at Trinity, Washington. So, Coach, what did those two victories together, how did they lead into the momentum that you've built coming up for this season?
Well, it's always nice to finish a season with 2 wins, and especially back-to-back shutouts. That's a credit to Maddie, our goalkeeper, and our defense. I think we worked a lot on defending. We had a really rough game to open the season down in Virginia at Christendom. They had, I believe it was 32 shots, 16 on goal. Maddie saved 13 of them and in a 3-0 loss. And at Trinity, Washington, they did not have a shot on goal.
That's amazing.
Not one shot on goal?
No. And we worked hard, like I said, no free shots from the top of the 18, and pressed them when we could. And, they were good side, and just it was nice to be able to get a shot out at the end of the year.
Well, I'm proud of your accomplishments coming into last year, but as we look forward to this year, there's a lot of things that have been going on. We can start in any number of directions. We can certainly talk about some of the returning players. We can talk about the new assistant coaches, and we can even talk about some of the new players. But let's start off with 2 new assistant coaches. Some of you Central Penn Athletics faithful will know these names. Kayla Murrin and Allison Quinn are the 2 new assistant coaches.
They used to win here? They used to go here?
Yeah, both of them alumni members. I know Kayla from playing on the women's basketball team. We actually got to call some of her games when she was here. So what was the thought process behind adding these 2 individuals to the coaching staff?
Well, first, they have some big shoes to fill. Amanda Knobb, our goalkeeper coach, D1 player, worked hard with both of our keepers the last 2 years, Allie, and we'll talk about Allie as a coach too, but Allie and Maddie work with both of them, both all-conference keepers. So great job. And then Caitlin Brownlee, Katie, was a great assistant. I actually coached Caitlin when she was in high school, probably 20 years ago. It was great. I must have did something right. She wanted to come back and work with me here. Very experienced coach, both of them. The way things are with full-time jobs and schedules and stuff, they just felt they helped me get the program off the ground the first 2 years. They weren't able to come back, and fortunately, I was able to talk to Kayla and Allie. Kayla, as you mentioned, all-conference player here, academic All-American. I think she'll be a great role model. They're both younger coaches, so it gives me a chance to mentor them. Allie played at high level, PA Classics Development Academy, led us to the ESAC Championship my first year here. She wanted to come back, work in our program, and just awesome to have these 2 young coaches on board.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So let me ask, so can you tell me a little bit more about the interaction between not just necessarily you, but what is the role of an assistant coach on a soccer team like this? Like, where are their individual contributions coming? I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different things they might be able to do during the game, but what about during practices and things of that nature? Explain to me what their role is going to be in practice, let's say.
It's actually a great question. I would like to know the same thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I always ask good questions, you guys are really good at this. Well, first of all, I'll talk about Allie, goalkeeper coach. She's going to focus on our back 4, our defense, working with a goalkeeper.
See, that I never would have thought that, and I would have thought a goalkeeper coach would just be working with the goalkeepers, but it makes perfect sense that they would also be working with the defense.
Yeah.
Well, because defense wins games. Come on now.
Yeah, I think it's really important for that keeper to be in good communication with our back line. And, Allie, like I said, played at a high level. She just coached keepers this past Saturday at our ID clinic, and really did a nice job there. So I'm looking forward to Allie being out there working with our keepers. Look for Kayla to jump in there, run some of the activities. One of the things too, when I interviewed both of these young ladies, obviously I'd love jumping in there to play, but I think when Amanda and Katie did it, really picks up the play. And so I'm sure Kayla and Allie jumping in there too to help pick up the play is going to be important. I think during games, I think just having another set of eyes. Typically, we would be, one person might be. I'm more of like the attacking side of it. I like working with our forwards and midfield, but I think we would have someone watching our defense. Someone watching midfield and attacking, and also try to have somebody kind of looking at what the other team's trying to do too. I mean, I'm more worried about what we do, but I think it's kind of nice to have like 3 sets of eyes out there on the match.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. And I appreciate the way that you broke that down, because it never really necessarily occurred to me, like the interplay. Like I said, obviously I get during the games, they're there to help you in decision making and working with some of the individuals during the game, but I was always curious how it worked out during practice. So that's really interesting to know.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I mean, I was a longtime assistant coach. I was a head coach at another college. I think it's really important to involve your assistant coaches and letting them do things at practices rather than me running everything. I think they can improve as a coach. So, we talk over what we're going to do, and, I think it's important that they get involved in teaching and coaching at practice. I know some head coaches, they don't want their assistants to teach anything, but I think from my perspective, they develop as a coach by, we train the way we play. So I think getting them involved in teaching early on is going to be important, and especially because they're younger coaches. It gives me an opportunity to mentor them, give them feedback, and also getting their take on what worked, what didn't work at practice.
Well, I want to move on to this season, and let's start off by talking about some of the returning players. Of course, you've lost a few players to graduation, but let's talk about some of the key players that you've got coming back this year that are going to play a significant role on the team.
Yeah, we're fortunate. We have a good core of experienced players coming back. They're led by 2 captains that are 2-year captains, and I think that's really important, having that leadership, that kind of that buffer between the team and the coaching staff. And I know that's another role, I think, for female assistant coaches is important. I think being good role models for these young ladies, but also giving them someone that they can go to. I know, I'm not sure about you, Paul, but I know my daughter's probably going to her mom for certain things than her dad. So I think going to them. But I think the captains, I really rely on them to do a lot of things and conveying information to the team. And we talk about a team of captains. I don't think you necessarily have to have a C on your arm to be a leader, but these 2 captains, returning captains, Mariah Bear and Lindsay Childs, really good leaders, and I think set a good tone for the team. We also have 2 all-conference players returning, Maddie Brymesser in goal, and Naya Lalick. Maddie was also Female Athlete of the Year here at Central Penn.
Amazing, and I was so proud of her that she won that award at the Activities and Athletics Banquet.
Yeah,
and Anaya was Rookie of the Year, and we're expecting big things from her in her second year here. We've got several other returning players that are experienced, and I think are going to really help.
Now, Coach, I actually have a question for you. What would you say, I know we talk about this a lot, and you talk about this a lot. Maybe articulate here on the podcast what new and incoming soccer players can look for and see when joining the program, and how welcome they are. Like, they don't have to be afraid to put themselves out there,
Yeah, I think it really starts, good question, Noah. I think really starts in the recruiting process, because I think not that I didn't worry about my sons when I went off to college, but I think when my daughter did, it's different with girls. So we try to early on get them on our radar and get to know them during the entire recruiting process. I think the video that you guys did brought a lot of that out from ID clinics, from recruit nights, from going to see them play, even if it's a day visit, having lunch with the team. I think developing that rapport with the team early on. I think, again, going back to the video, just one of our top 2025s, Honesty Goldsmith from Shippensburg, talked about how welcoming the team was, how she liked the recruiting process. So I think it all starts there, and then try through team bonding, team building activities. We just did, this year the girls wanted white T-shirt. We assigned them practice gear. Past 2 years we had maroon and orange practice gear, and this year they wanted to do white and tie-dye them. So we did a team bonding, and I just dropped those off to get the logos put on. And they also, again, I don't know if we'll have time to talk fundraising, but part of our fundraising, they wanted racerback tank tops for hot August days to train in. So we're able to use fundraising money to buy those for what the girls wanted to wear for training. So I think that's important. Just being together, and playing and practicing and training is just getting to know each other early on, and then kind of keep building from there.
Certainly, I think that's pretty important for the whole college experience.
Well, we've talked about some of the returning players. What about some of the new incoming players that we can keep an eye on?
New players.
Yeah, I think we've got a really good 2025 class coming in. I did mention Honesty. Spent a lot of time recruiting her. She's been to ID clinics several times. Has a real interest in to me, like it's all about having the right major for these prospective student athletes. And she wanted to do medical assisting, and she's going to be you're going to be a student first here. Definitely a student-first athlete. And I know Casey, our AD, sets that tone, and our whole athletic staff, Kenton, and our success coaches, we kind of set that tone with our coaching staff that they're coming here for the major first of all. It's all about the academics first, and then soccer. We have two other young ladies, Kaylee and Chloe, both played at the same high school, so they have a little bit of a knowledge playing together. Kaylee's big-time forward. Chloe's a midfielder. Also, Abby Roberts. I actually coached Abby's high school coach when she was in high school, when I was coaching high school.
What a small world,
so
man.
I think, it's been, we've gotten a couple players that particular coach from that school has kind of referred to us, and it's kind of nice to be able to get Abby on board. And then we have a transfer from another college. She was a D3 lacrosse player. Wants to try soccer since we don't have lacrosse here. She's a PTA major, came here for the major. And this spring, Aubrey just has been working hard to learn the game of soccer. So looking forward to those 5 joining our core players this season.
Well, Coach, as we sort of transition here to the final minute or two, I do just want to give a shout out. There's so many opportunities for the Central Penn faithful to come out and see what you have going on. Of course, we play at the Skyline Sports Complex right next to FNB Field on City Island. The home opener is September 23rd. That's a Tuesday. But the first game you have at Penn State Mont Alto on August 26th. You'll be at Trinity, Washington for your first official game. The Mont Alto is a scrimmage. Your first official game. You're going to be on the road those first 3 contests. At Trinity, Washington, September 12th. At Manor on September 18th. And at Christendom on September 20th. But then you'll be home for 3 out of 4. September 23rd, October 1st, and October 9th. You got to get out and see what you have going on. It's amazing to come out to Skyline. Beautiful, beautiful venue. That time of year is the perfect time to sit out along the river. I was just over on City Island last night for a baseball game with my son, and it's just gorgeous. And I just love the opportunity to be there and come out and support you guys. And of course, the one we are circling on our calendar is Friday, October 17th versus Patrick Henry for the homecoming and recruit night. And that'll be part of a doubleheader.
Oh, yes.
Of which,
definitely come to that one.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be working, so that's already on your schedule. So yes,
well,
you'll
of course. But I'm telling the audience, please come to that game. It's a great game.
So you've got 5 home contests plus a potential at the end of the season for the ESAC championship. So bottom line is, Coach, we need to make sure that we come out and support you. And of course, you can always go to centralpennknights.com for all of the scheduling information. Coach, any final thoughts before we head off today? You said you want to talk a little bit about fundraising. I think that's a good time.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to echo, though, what you were saying there, Paul, about the venue. It's huge for recruiting that, former pro teams played on the match pitch there at Skyline. You mentioned the FNB field, that they built a locker room for us in the stadium. So
I heard about that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's the girls really like that for a pregame. The fundraising question is, we're able to do a lot of things with our fundraising money. One is we put a team in indoor so that we can get some touches over the winter at Yellow Breeches. We use fundraising money for that. So we've got a couple fundraisers coming up here. One is ongoing with the DJ at the Party on the Patio, and you can donate online. Then the past 2 years, our biggest fundraiser has been our Soy Candle fundraiser. We were going to be selling those at the end of September for a couple weeks, and the girls picked the scents, the fragrances, that some pretty cool ones. I think a mix of fall and Christmas scents. And then you mentioned the concessions you guys always do at the homecoming game. We're going to do a bake sale there too to help try to raise some money there.
So, Coach, we are going to also share the link for the Party on the Patio if anybody would like to donate to the women's soccer team or our athletic program as a whole. And, of course, keep an eye out for Student Central and Central Station for more information about the candle fundraiser for the women's soccer team. Coach, thank you so much for being here on our all-soccer episode of the podcast today. It's just our pleasure to get to talk to you. Anytime I see you around campus, you're the nicest person. It's my pleasure to get to work with you, and I'm looking forward to coming out to as many games as I can this year. And, of course, come out and support the soccer teams and stop by on homecoming to the Nightly News concession stand.
Soccer's an underrated sport, you guys. Honestly, it's really fun. It's fun.
Well, we appreciate the chance to be on the air with you, and hopefully the fans are going to turn out to support us this year. And again, just appreciate being on the podcast.
It's my pleasure. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. Noah, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me on.
Coach Grubesky, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks again, Paul. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that's going to be it for today. Stay tuned for Coach Hartman. But for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast, I want to thank Noah Lopez and coach of the Lady Knights soccer team, Coach Rudy Grubesky. Until next time, we'll see you again on the Nightly News Podcast.
This is Brett Savaleski, co-president of the Nightly News Media Club, and you are listening to the Nightly News Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Nightly News Podcast. This is Professor Paul Miller, and I'm so honored to be joined by our men's soccer coach here at Central Penn. It's such a pleasure to have Chris Hartman on the show. Chris, it's such a pleasure to have you, and welcome to the Nightly News Podcast.
Man, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, it's absolutely our pleasure, and I got to be honest with you, and we'll speak to our co-host here momentarily. It's such a pleasure to have you. As someone who has been involved in Central Penn athletics during the last, I think we started broadcasting, basketball and baseball back in 2018. It is always a pleasure to get to have the coaches on, to get to learn more about their coaching styles, but a lot of things to talk about, including some of the wonderful gains for our program from last year. So those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Also being joined by Nightly News President Noah Lopez. Noah, welcome back to the show.
Yes. I mean, at this point, it should be expected to hear me on here now.
Well, you're not on every single one, but we certainly like to have you on. You do a great job, and obviously this is within your career goals. So we like to have you, and you're doing some wonderful work here with the Nightly News. All right, well, let's get into it. Coach, first of all, I just want to sort of get this out of the way. This is your first season as Central Penn head coach, and of course we'll talk a little bit more about that. But I want to make it very clear that you were one of the assistant coaches previously as well. So I do want to talk a bit about last season.
Sure.
The bottom line is that last season was, I mean, I don't want to go out on a limb by saying this, but the best and most successful season that Knights soccer has ever seen. Not only did they win the ESAC, I'm not a wee person. I'm not a wee person, but I literally contributed zero to the successes of the team. But the Knights soccer team won the ESAC championship game versus Manor College, went to the USCAA Division II National Championship in Pittsburgh-ish, although I'm familiar with Pittsburgh. Coriopolis, not Pittsburgh.
Right.
But that's a separate conversation. But went there, won 2 games, and got to the national finals. What an amazing season.
I'm just looking at this right here. I'm just seeing W's. Only W's.
Yeah.
Wins.
It was a great season.
Incredible season. So let me ask you this. When you look back at the beginning of last season and you're going into the season, did you ever expect it to go as well as it did? Did everything just kind of have to fall right for this to happen, or did you expect it all along?
I mean, when you're doing all the recruiting and everything like that, you're bringing in talented players. I shouldn't call them kids. Talented players, and you're looking at it, and you're looking at, week 1, you're like, these guys are good. We can do some really good stuff. And then you get into it in the middle of the season, you're like, and you kind of look at the schedule, and we're like 8-0. Then we play like a Lehigh Valley. They shellacked us. And then it's like reality. There's a good reality check, but then that's a wake up call for everybody. And then it's good. And then we're getting to the end of the season. Where we wanted to be was like, we wanted to host ESAC, which we did. And then we played one of our favorite teams, Manor, who, if you look back the year before, we played them in a final and lost. So it was kind of redemption that we had them again. So, but then after that, we were kind of like waiting games. Like we know we had a good season, good run. And we were like, all right, where are we going to be in national? What number are we going to be? And then we were at the watch party. And we were like, all right, what's the number? And then it ended up being like 2. And we're like,
wow.
We're like, all right, that's a pretty good. And then where else? Who else is in our bracket? So we got a pretty good bracket. And we ended up playing someone out there, Penn State and New Kensington, who we played during season. And it was like, oh, it was good. It was a good draw for us. So that's how we ended up there in the final.
Well, what's interesting about that is, yes, you did play Penn State, New Kensington in really the final game of the season and won 3-1.
Yeah.
But what's different about that is New Kensington to where you guys played was very close. So I'm assuming that they had a home field advantage.
They did, and what they shared is actually they kind of just stayed on campus and commuted to the national championships. So that was it was unique. And that was our first game out there, if I remember correct. Yeah, it was like Penn State, New Kensington, and then Paul Smith. That was a typical Pittsburgh day, cold, rainy, November, and they had the benefit. Like, they could just come out of bed and go, you know what I mean? Like, the comfort there.
It's definitely not more than about a 20 to 30-minute ride from New Kensington to Coriopolis.
Yeah. But, I mean, they were able to, and that was their first game. And then we went to overtime and everything like that. So that was a wake-up call there. It was like, get us moving. It's like, welcome to Nationals, guys. Let's go. And then the next game against Paul Smith, that was just, we're in our groove. Let's go. We're in after that, we're like, we're in the finals now. Let's go. So.
Well, let's talk about that playoff game against Penn State, New Kensington. You had to score 2 goals in the second half to even send it to overtime.
Yes.
And then, one in overtime. Tell us a little bit about how, to whatever extent you can recall that game and some of the big moments that you remember and how that led to, running through the next game even after that.
I mean, from there, it was just at that point in the season, you're kind of just putting the guys on the field and letting them go. They already know the tactical formations and where to go and things like that. You're just putting them out there and just like, all right, this is your moment to shine. Go do it. Give the balls to your guys that know who want the ball. All right, this is the guy that you want it, and just let them do it. Well, we had some good senior leader. I'll call them seniors, but they're good junior leadership out there.
Well, and to be perfectly honest with you, it's unbelievably impressive and resilient. So the next game you said against Paul Smith's a 4-0 win.
Yeah.
And so what clicked there was, what do you think it was the momentum that was built up from that overtime victory?
Oh, absolutely. It was the momentum. It was the momentum from that and knowing like, hey, it was just in a roll. I think everything now, when you're in that stage, get in a groove and like it's just everything's clicking and everything's just going to roll and just keep going.
Without belaboring the point, obviously the finals didn't go quite the way you anticipated.
No.
But with that said, to have 2 victories in a national tournament, be the national runner-up in the USCAA conference, I mean, in reflection, obviously we all understand you would have loved to have made a better showing in that finals. But
right.
at the end of the day, not only are you ESAC champions, not only do you win 2 games at the national tournament, and represent our college in such an amazing way. In reflection, what do you take away from not the successful season, but the playoff atmosphere?
For me, I've been in the NCAA tournament through other colleges. This was by far the uniquest atmosphere. In that you have 2 games going on at the same time, where NCAA, you come in, you play, you win, you keep going on, you lose, you're done, thanks for coming. With that, it's the mini tournament. It's just a whole different, unique atmosphere. The teams are staying in the same hotel.
Wow.
NCAA, that happens as well, but it's just like there's so many players in that facility, in that hotel. It's just an unique atmosphere. It's pretty cool. It's really neat. So I think what the players gained from that whole experience was like, we've been here, we know what this is. and we want to go back. I think the hunger is there. I think coming into this year, that hunger is there. Just the complacency of like, we did it once.
Well, right. I mean, you know now that you've got what it takes to make that leap. And now it's almost like, okay, we've gotten to this point. We feel that we can take it all the way. Well, as we move on, and again, congratulations. I'm sure I'm probably about the 100th person to wish you congratulations. The offseason brought some change to the Knights. Coach Osborne moved on, and you received the offer to become the new head coach. Obviously, in my opinion, you deserved it. You were such an integral piece to last season. But what were your feelings when you got the call that you were the next Central Penn College men's soccer coach?
Ecstatic. It was exciting. I remember the call. It was early, about 10 o'clock-ish in the morning.
10 o'clock
getting
in
the
the
call.
morning.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I was excited to get the call from Casey. I know it was a long process, and it was gratifying at the end to be like, all right, now let's go. It was after we just had an ID clinic the weekend before. I was like, all right, we can finally get going and get things rolling here for the new year. So
Fantastic. Well, again, congratulations.
All right, so I actually on the topic of that, you becoming the new coach, I wanted to talk about what are your coaching values and your philosophy when you go into coaching, when you go into that,
For me, for coaching, it's bringing in some character, building character. I'm an X's and O's kind of guy, but I also want to bring culture to the team and build up the team and the players and things like that. Soccer, sports in general, is such an important thing to them. Overall, it's going to bring so much to their lives. There's like time management skills and all that stuff. It's how you manage that. I mean, right now, as we're talking, they're doing a fundraiser.
Oh, really? What are they doing?
They're doing a phone blitz.
A phone blitz.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So they're raising some money for the program. So it's all those things. It's like for me, it's just not all about the sport and playing. Yes, that's why they're here. Plus academics, but it's also all the extra activities that they need to do, and that's for me. That's part of it. I think my coaching style and my philosophy is, we're here. You need to work hard, 100% effort all the time on what you're doing. I know yesterday we had a scrimmage. wasn't the result we wanted, but it was a very character building kind of day.
Like loss is learning.
Yeah, definitely.
And it doesn't count in the standings.
Yes,
exactly.
right,
That's
yeah.
even better.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I mean, it was definitely a character building day. Even though we look at it as a big picture, it's like there's things that are positives, things that are negative. Do we want more things on the positive side? Absolutely. But there's things there that we need to work on. Coming in, I'm changing things around. We're looking at different formation, looking at different things, players playing different positions. So there's a whole lot of variables going on there. And that's kind of, for me, I'm learning what players we have, and hopefully they're learning from me as well. So,
one of the things that I wanted to ask you, last year you just had a massive roster. I'm counting 23, but that's not necessarily accurate. This year you have a bit smaller of a roster. I do see a lot of new faces that were just recently entered into the roster, so it's nice to see. By my count, you have 19.
1920.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that number of players, how difficult is it to get, number one, everyone playing time, and number two, for those individuals who maybe aren't getting the amount of playing time that they've hoped, keeping them engaged and into that culture that you're trying to build?
From last year or this last year's numbers?
Well, I mean, both teams are, even if you call it 20 plus on both teams, I'm sure it was an issue sort of last year and this year too. So let's just say maybe flipping forward, how are you going to handle the playing time issues with the number, and also maybe those that aren't getting quite the same amount of playing time, how you're keeping them engaged in a team culture?
Correct. In our conference, there's going to be games where they're going to get more playing time than some other games, but that's kind of the highs and lows. And then some games we're going to rest some players, so that it will bounce out pretty good. But it all falls back to practice time. And if we're having a good culture and practices are good, they're not lighthearted, but they're good quality practices, that's where they're going to get the time in, and that's where they're going to feel like they're fitting into it. I think this team the players are a very close-knit group. If you're 1 on the roster or you're 20 on the roster, you're still connected. You're not an outcast or anything like that.
And may I say I usually get here pretty early in the morning. I was here about 6:45 today, and I took some stuff over to my office. I saw them going to practice. I'm assuming to either running or wait.
Yep.
I saw them all together.
Yep.
And when you can get a group of college students up before 7 o'clock to do some things for sports, you're doing something right.
I mean, they're dedicated. That's their game.
Yep.
That's their life.
This year we implemented 2 days for training camp. So for the last 2 weeks, there was times in the morning they were running. We did some speed and agility. They were either running a mile around, like the mile loop around campus or something like that. So they were active in the morning, and then in the evening we had training sessions.
Fantastic.
How do you really adapt your coaching to separate or different players, like in their different play styles? Because I know it takes a lot to teach. We have a lot of clashing personalities. Everyone wants to be the star.
Right.
So how does that really play out?
Well, I mean, when I look at a player recruiting-wise or looking at them, I'm looking at them like, this is the system I'm playing or this is the system I want to play. How do they fit into that? And like before when I was at another school, I was like looking at players as like, if they say like I'm a left back, I'm like, yeah, I have 10 left, not 10, but I have a ton of left backs. I'm like, you might be good at a left midfielder. Let's work on being a left midfielder.
Do they ever have a problem with that?
If they want to play, they usually don't. But I mean, that's the system. You know what I mean? Like even one of these practices this year, I was like, guys, our numbers are low, so this is what we're doing. Get comfortable and adapt.
Is 20 low for soccer?
20 seems like a big number.
20 is low because we can't play two against each other.
I see
practice.
what you
Like two
mean.
teams at the
I
same
see
time?
what you mean, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we have to do a lot of small-sided stuff in practices. So if we had an extra 4 bodies, it would be ideal. It would be
Gotcha.
nice. But
So 24 is like the main number?
24 is a good number. If I could have, I mean, the team we played yesterday had 36.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Granted, that's a huge roster.
Yeah.
So
Well, Coach, let's take I have two quick things I want to hit on. So, number one, I want to preface this by saying I know that everyone on the team has immense value. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to go through every single player by player. So, what I want to hear is 2 players, even maybe the captains of this season's team, that you're really looking forward to playing a big role, and then 2 incoming players that you anticipate having a large role as well.
I mean, I think 2 players that we're going to be watching closely, just because they're coming back from injury. I'll put it that way. Is Ali and Gio. They both last year had. I don't know if you watched them at nationals, they were walking around on crutches because they just had surgery for ACL last year.
Correct. Yeah, I have Ollie Korkatovich in class, and an interesting fact: him and I both went to Carlisle High School.
There you go.
So ever since I met him, we've always had that bond.
So both of them will be returning back from ACL injury this year. So Gio, Ali did not play last year at all. Gio played in 4 games or so, and is going to be returning. So those guys, they're going to be guys to watch. And then 2 incoming freshmen, obviously Elvis and Cody. They kind of are going to be very impactful. They were very
Elvis Hernandez Lopez and Cody Mendoza.
Yeah.
Mendoza.
So they're going to be very impactful, skillful guys, helping us. Elvis more in the midfield. Cody can do both midfield and up top striker.
Well, I got to tell you that this is something really special, and obviously, yes, you've lost a couple of fantastic players, but to be honest, it seems like you still have a really, really strong core of returning players. I know, again, Blake Eiserman, also a Carlisle guy, so
Yes.
I've had him in class a few times. So yeah, we've had a couple conversations about that. But
I mean, we have the good group of captains coming back. Greg and Blake are both there, and then we have Ben, who's a senior. So there's a bunch of guys that have been here for 3 or 4 years that have gone through it all. So it's going to be a good year.
And hopefully communicating that culture to the number of new players that you have as well. To me, like, I've had a lot of interaction both with basketball and baseball, and I try to talk to the guys. Even though becoming a leader isn't linear for everyone, I kind of explained, like, I know when I talked to Kevon last year about, his role with the team, it was like, you know what, regardless of whether you want to be a leader or not, just simply because you're a senior, you are, and you are communicating to the incoming folks what the expectations are from the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And so it is really important that you own that, because if you don't, then that can lead to a culture shift in a negative way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with soccer is the captains get these nice little armbands to wear, and it's like it's identifiers. But my thing is like you don't need to have one of those things to be a leader on the team. Just because you have it doesn't mean a freshman can't be a leader. Anybody can speak up and be and talk and share their voice and what's going on. So I mean that's one thing that we're trying to do as the coaching staff is like, hey guys, do it and communicate and share what's going on and doing it in the right way, in the right tone. That will go far.
You know, you were talking about coaching staff. I do just briefly want to mention the assistant coaches, Nick Hamaker and Deegan McLeod. Deegan McLeod is a graduate assistant soccer coach. Nick Hamaker is the assistant men's soccer coach here. How are those two gentlemen not only contributing now, but also how do you look for them to play a role this season?
They've helped out. They were helping out here last year as well, and they continued to help with this whole transition and things like that. And they're kind of the guys that help me make sure things stay in check and things like that, and helped plan week 1 of training camp and helping today, trying to figure out what we're going to do with practice and things like that, or what the plans are. In game stuff, they're helping with, hey, this guy needs a sub, this guy doesn't, and all that fun stuff. So, yeah, they're very key in keeping me in line and things like that.
Coach, we wish you the absolute best. Of course, we hope to see you in the ESAC title game and, of course, the national championship. But before we get there, we have a season to play.
Yes.
So a couple of highlights that I really wanted to just go over. First of all, the season opener is a home game at Skyline.
Yes.
Of course, all games at Skyline Sports Complex against Christendom on Wednesday, September 3rd. You also have a home game on Tuesday, September 16th versus Williamson, as well as September 25th versus Bucks. And then, of course, later on in the season, the big homecoming senior night and recruit night that's going to be taking place on October 17th. Both Noah and I will be there. We will be selling concessions, but of course, we're going to be keeping an eye on the field. So please, as always, you can go to centralpennknights.com, click on the schedules and the men's soccer tab to see all of the times and dates and locations of all of Knights soccer games. And anyone out there listening, I'd better see you at games this season, or I'm going to track you down. I'm going to figure out who's listening to the show, Noah, and I'm going to keep a tally of how many games that you go to.
Use the listener statistics. There you go in the
Of course, I just
overview.
But we need you out there. We need the support. Skyline Sports Complex is amazing. I love being over there, and you know that's got to be a great sort of recruit tool as well to get to say, hey, this is a professional field that we're working with here, and look around you. You know, City Island. I was literally born in Harrisburg Hospital with a view of City Island, so it's kind of ironic for me, I suppose, that I'm still doing so much work over there.
There's a team now, Capital Islanders, that is a semi-pro team that's using the field, and they have like banners up and everything like that, and we're in partnership with them. So the field is going to be a different look this year.
Okay.
So it's going to be pretty good. And I know you. September 3rd is the first game. In my 2 years here, that is our first game that is home. Usually it's on the road.
Yeah.
So it's pretty exciting for our first game to be home.
Well, I will do everything I possibly can to be there. And again, Coach, we just wish you well. I know that it's going to be a transition, but you seem up to the task. And, you know, we're just looking forward to being out there with you September 3rd and throughout the whole season. So, as always, again, you can go to centralpennknights.com for more information about the team and the schedule. So, perfect. Coach, thank you so much for your time. If there's ever anything that we can do to assist you in any way, please just let us know. We'll do what we can.
If you ever need any publication or anything, if you need something to be put out for everyone to know, let us know.
Perfect. We'll do.
So, again, thank you for being on the show, and it's been our pleasure to have you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks.
All right, and Noah, it's always a pleasure to have you too, and I'm looking forward not only to being out there with you on homecoming to sell concessions, but also continuing the work that you do with Central Penn Athletics.
Yes, I always love being on the podcast and supporting all of the crazy and extensive endeavors that Central Penn gets involved in. I love them all. Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for this episode of the Nightly News Podcast. I want to thank head coach of the Central Penn Knights men's soccer team, Chris Hartman, and, of course, Nightly News president, Noah Lopez. But this is the end of this episode, so we will see you again next time on the Nightly News Podcast.